Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 6 of Ignite the Podcast. Today's guests, the OCR Kings from YouTube, Damir and Mac.
Hey,
welcome,
everybody.
guys.
Thanks for having
us.
us.
Hey.
Thank you very much. Well, let's just get into this. So, Mac and Damir are the kings of obstacle course racing. So they have done, I couldn't even count how many races you guys done on your YouTube. So you guys are going to have to tell me that. Probably done, hundreds of obstacle course races?
Maybe collectively between the two of us.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty close. Yeah. So it's blurry in the background. I've got, my swag and my medals and things hanging up there. I can turn around and count, but
That's right.
I wouldn't bore you. I don't want to bore you with that. So I think
how long have you guys been in the game for?
Well,
what was our first race?
The first one was 2012. It was a tough
2012.
Yeah, that was the Mount Snow, Vermont Tough Mudder, and I don't know that set the spark.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
As soon as we finished that one, it was like, okay, this is fun. This is addictive. It was like, how many can we now schedule? And it just kind of went crazy from that point.
Yep.
What was the why'd you even start? Like, what made you want to compete in that race in the first place?
We've always kind of been outdoor adventure guys, from either snowboarding or hiking or mountain climbing and all of these kind of outdoor activities. And, I saw a commercial and I said, you know what, this seems a bit on the extreme side. We got to really kind of check this out. I think Damir was already there thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
And that was it. It was like, okay, this is, an outdoor mountain slog that we have to try to kind of attempt and beat. Yeah, let's do it. So it was a natural progression from stuff that we were kind of already doing.
Yeah, and I think too was like Mac, you and I and a couple of other buddies were kind of doing sections of the Appalachian Trail hike, and it just, I don't know if the commercial, did we talk about it there or was it like 2 days later? But we hiked that, we had an amazing adventure, and then all of a sudden this commercial for Tough Mudder pops up, and it was we just have to go, we just have to do it. So.
Right. So for folks who might not be aware, the Appalachian Trail is a long trail system that flanks the entire east coast of the United States. It goes through some pretty rocky and mountainous terrain. And if you can complete it rather in one go, you're considered a through hiker. And that could take a couple of months if you're going at a realistic and average pace. So we've done the local sections by us. And just as Damir said, yeah, we might have been talking about that, but I don't know if we were talking to each other much, because when we get in those situations and it's a heavy, hard kind of process, we tend to get angry and internalize and don't communicate. Yeah, I do. That's true. That's true. We get nasty, so we get mean to each other, sort of. Or I do, at least. And
pushing each other.
Yeah,
that's exactly
definitely
correct. It's always been that way. Always been that way.
How long have you guys been friends for?
So since we're only 28, 4 short years, No, we my background and my family come from around the New York City area. Okay, we moved into this current area that we're in, Connecticut, the northeast part of the United States. And I moved into the neighborhood that Damir was living in. And I don't know if the parents talked to each other or what, but lo and behold, Damir showed up at the front door and said, do you want to come out and play or something or other? And where we live is very rural and very wooded. And from there on, the two of us were out in the woods.
Yep. Woods adventure. I mean, that was grade school. That was super young. So we've been friends for decades.
Yes. I was going to say just 9 years ago.
Yeah,
Not 9 years ago.
9 years ago. I'll believe that.
You'll believe that? All right.
Wow, it's so rare to find that you stay friends after school. That's
Yep.
cool. Respects.
Definitely.
So
Well,
how
I
long
mean-
did it take you to do the entire East Coast of the US? So that was what, a couple of months, was it? Or...
Well, see, we didn't get a chance to complete the whole thing. So we've done the local sections by us. We've done Connecticut and we've done New York State.
New York.
Part of Massachusetts.
Right, so the sections are the states of the East Coast.
Yeah, you can try to do the whole thing, but you know, we've got big boy jobs and families and stuff.
Maybe when we're both retired, we'll do a through hike. Yeah,
40 years from now.
Yeah,
that's right.
Oh, beautiful. Well, let's get into what is your favorite obstacle course race. So you guys do Spartan Race, Tough Mudder. What else do I have you guys doing?
Yeah, you name it. We try to spread everything out across the whole industry. Rugged Maniac, Savage Race. I mean, obviously the stuff that's in our area or we can travel to, and even some of the smaller ones we've done just because the community is just so awesome. And then there's always cool obstacles or terrain or where they're doing a venue to kind of dictates, oh, I want to go there. I haven't done this location. So we've definitely sprinkled it out all over the place. But it's like Spartan is Spartan. I mean, a Spartan is just, they're the bigger, stronger, beats us up more. It takes more out of you. So much respect. They're the leader of the OCRs and rightfully so. So it's hard to not say that our favorite would be a Spartan. Now we could definitely get into arguments or a little bit back and forth about which one's our favorite. Because I don't know. We definitely have a few that blew us away, or the experience or the terrain or the people, or just talking to just everyone at a venue that's been amazing. So it's been a really cool experience. But to answer your question, Spartan.
Probably Spartan, yeah.
You have a current, definitely.
So Spartan's the most, you would say it's the harder one out of them all?
Just like
obviously depending on the track, of course.
Yeah, no, they seem to be more of you're going to be picking up this heavy sandbag and you're going to be heavy hoist and you're going to be carrying a bucket full of rocks. And the other ones may have those, but not really so much. They may have a really tough obstacle that's really worth checking out. I'd say probably the closest, I don't know, it's definitely a East Coast thing, and companies come in and out of bounds, but there was one Bone Frog, which was probably it's a United States Navy SEAL, not backed, but those guys who went through some of our elite warriors for the United States military put that race together. And that was pretty challenging too, and had some pretty awesome obstacles. They've been in some trouble lately financially and took a back seat. And it sounds like they may be coming back, but I would definitely put Spartan number 1 and probably Bone Frog number 2.
Yeah, Spartan 2 had penalties. So if you failed or couldn't complete an obstacle, you would have to do typically burpees, do an exercise where looks like a push-up. You put your chest down to the ground, you do a push-up maneuver, you stand up and you jump, if people don't know what that is. So they may be phasing out burpees, which I think is going to be a detriment to them and to people participating in these races, because it lowers the risk. There's no risk. There's not as much reward in successfully completing the obstacles and things like that. So that's
thinking about getting rid of the burpees.
Yes. So we've seen more and more penalty loops. So if you flub or you miss or you can't complete an obstacle, you go out for, I think it's 100 meters. You run like a little loop and then you come back. It's not quite the same thing.
As
you do 30 burpees, you're kind of smoked.
Yeah.
You're tired at the end of those. So I hope maybe they reconsider and bring that back, because that's one of the things that made Spartan Race special.
Yeah, so at the moment
for failure.
That's right. Yeah, the elite heats and the age group heats. So if you're really trying to compete, they're getting rid of burpees and they're just going into the penalty loops. Probably because they are trying to kind of fit that mold with bringing OCR into the Olympics. So there is that migration that's happening, and Spartan's talking about it. But at the moment, burpees are required for anyone who's just doing an open heat, unless on the course map, there are a few that absolutely have the penalty loop. But I don't know. That is a tough one because, I mean, you start to fear the burpees. Or, I mean, if you failed 4 obstacles, that's a lot of burpees.
That's a lot.
Yeah. That's a long day.
Yeah. You're not having a good time after that.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
why would they need to get rid of it for the Olympics? Because doesn't that adding the burpees is there's that like you said, Mac. There's that risk. There's that thing that you really don't want to do, and it makes it more challenging. So wouldn't you want more challenge within the race, especially at the Olympics?
I think for the Olympics, they want to standardize, and there might be difficulty, and it might be
what's a burpee as to what a burpee how high a jump off the ground may be. So maybe they're just trying to make it simpler.
I'd be there, and the Russian judge would be like, "Niet, no,
niet.
Do it again, and I'd do 1,000, and so."
Yeah, well, some people will say that you can do the. Do you guys know that technique with the burpee roll, where you don't really do a push up, you sort of roll your body off the ground and you jump up?
Sure.
Yeah, it's like the worm. Yeah,
the worm. Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess there'd be consequences for doing that. Regardless.
Yeah. So if everyone has to run a 200-meter loop or 100 meters if there's elevation, which is kind of what it says in Spartan's rule book right now, then I guess at least it's a standardized practice. I just thought it would have been easier to flip that script and say open people who are just there to challenge themselves or a weekend warrior, like maybe they shouldn't do the burpees, or maybe 30 burpees is too much.
Too many.
So is too many just for someone who's who got coerced into doing one of these races who really didn't want to. So I don't know. Mac and I kind of discuss it all the time and just say, burpees, no burpees, penalty loop. So we'll see. It's an open debate for the both of us and for the community that we're seeing.
And how about yourself? I mean, have you done Spartan, or are there races in Australia? Oh, here we go. All right.
That's right. Yes.
There we go. I got my sprints.
Is that from this season? Right on.
Yeah,
cool.
That was in February.
Okay.
Very cool.
Yeah, so I only just discovered Spartan Race in September last year.
Okay.
Funny enough, I wasn't really doing too well fitness wise. I've been athletic for most of my life, but once the sort of pandemic hit, sort of took it out of me, and I stopped. I trained for health, but I wasn't, training for any sort of athleticism.
Sure.
And then I was playing a game, and my character had had a spear, right? And he was like, throwing a spear and hitting a ball. Yeah. And I was just like, fuck, that's such a human thing to be able to throw a spear. And then I was like, I should know how to do that. And then anyway, so it was like 2 hours in of looking up how to do a spear throw. And then it was, there was like a few videos on how to throw a spear. And then it was just like Spartan Race, how to throw a spear. And I was like, the fuck's Spartan Race? And then I looked into it. And that was the night I actually found your channel. And
Get out.
I was watching your, I love your GoPro videos. Of where you're, they're so good, man, so good. Like, and good music, and I was watching that for hours actually, and then next day I started training. There you go.
Excellent. That's funny. You should mention, the pandemic, because that hit all of us. It knocked everybody out of Spartan Race. There were lockdowns. People weren't congregating. They weren't getting together. But even the two of us, we've known each other for a million years, and it was. I had to treat Damer like he was a biological weapon. Like stay away from me. Don't breathe in my space. And our workout routines went downhill.
Definitely.
And we supplemented, or I certainly did, with beer, lots of beer.
Yeah.
So the COVID pounds came on, and that's where it came from. Is, I didn't like. It took a while to burn that off. So yeah, it's funny you should mention COVID, because that sucked.
I mean, towards the end, the industry did get better, just pushing for virtual races, just trying to get people out there and doing stuff. So we even wound up doing some virtual stuff through Spartan and a bunch of other brands as well. But it's still it's not the same. It was like you would go out, you'd go out for a run and you'd track it on your watch, and then you would report your watch data back to and earn your medal, basically, just to prove you did it.
You're still doing the runs. You're
still doing the runs.
When you say virtual, you're not putting on like some headset. No. Yeah, right.
No, that would have been cool.
Your time, recording your run.
Yes.
Yep. And then Spartan,
you do exercises and things.
You do a certain, you do physical training of some sort, and they gave you a list: 30 burpees and lunges and squats and
push-ups and bear crawls and these kinds of things. Yeah.
So at least they started to get into that and made it entertaining, but no, it doesn't compare to the real deal.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But yeah, nothing was better than doing my first race, man. Like it was great. Like I had a blast.
Outstanding.
Yeah. The only problem was we came in, I just rocked up to the mountain probably half an hour before the race started, and there was a long line to get your registration and get your headband. So I didn't really have time to warm up, so I just pretty much had to jump over the little
that's right. Into the starting gate. That's right.
The starting gate. That's right. Yeah. And then I was pretty much just going into it, and within about 15 minutes, I gassed out, and then I just kept going, just like with a slow jog, kept walking, jogging, and then I warmed up properly, and then I was able to just go.
Cool.
Perfect. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
We don't go out and set any land speed records. Okay. It's really hard when you're not anymore. When you're in the starting gate though, and 3, 2, 1, go, everybody bursts out of the starting gate. You just start flying, okay, running really, really, really hard. But if you don't scale that back, we noticed that by mile 2, everybody you were running with they're way behind you. So what I'm saying is we tend to pace ourselves, and we've got other things. We're going to be swapping batteries and talking to people and framing shots and things. So we're kind of on the slower side of things overall. Okay. But we totally get what you said. 15 minutes. It was,
I mean, I still
get a different feeling than from when you.
I still get the butterflies.
Just, like
before the race starts. I still get the butterflies. Kind of get us so excited the day of a race. So how could you not just want to be a part of that and just register? And your date slowly gets closer and closer. And you've been running a little, and you're like, "Oh my God, did I train enough?" It's like, "Oh, am I still throwing the spear good? Oh, am I gonna fail? Am I gonna fall off and splash?" It's like all these things you're thinking about, and then the day comes, super excited. Yeah, and it's hard, like Max said, not to just explode out of the start and just take off like lightning. But yeah, we've learned that that's usually short-lived.
Yeah.
So
it's very
you mentioned mountains.
They are.
So you were in mountainous terrain. What was your course like? Was it hilly? Did it have
it was hilly.
Elevation changes? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So the mountain is called Mount Borbor in Melbourne, somewhere around Melbourne, and the elevation. I wish I had I don't have the photo on me, but yeah, we had a photo of the course terrain, and it was like most of the mountains were about that, and it was just pretty much going down, up, down, up. There was a few bits where it was like sort of just rising just a little bit. But for the most part, it was just like down, up, down, up, down, up. It was
very similar to where we live. This terrain here that we kind of train on and work out on, but very, very similar to the races. I would say more than half of the ones that we've done are exactly like you described. So that's what makes it cool too. The elevation. It's different than running on roads.
The elevation. Even one thing that Spartan does more than some of the other OCRs that we've seen is they tend to route you just like randomly through the woods. Like they see a rock that you got to scramble over and a pricker bush and some poison ivy. That's exactly where they're going to send you. So
I love that.
They're sadists.
Yes.
That's really cool. So could we segue into how you guys train, how often you're running, lifting, speed work, long distance, obstacle course practice? Let's segue into how you guys prepare for each race. So tell us your weekly sort of routine.
Damer, you want to jump in, or you want me to?
The first right off the bat is you got to be able to run to the obstacles, and there's way more running than there are obstacles. So
I hate that statement, and you're right. You're right. I hate the fact that you're right. Number one, and number two, I hate the fact that is accurate. Yeah, got to run.
Yeah.
So we typically, when it's race season proper, we run together two nights a week.
Yeah, two nights a week.
One night and one day. The days are on the weekends. Those are the longer runs.
And those are the long
miles. Yeah. So, and when we get closer to events, that's when we typically work back in obstacles. Okay. So I have in my backyard, Olympus. It's a hanging traverse type of obstacle for Spartan Race. The spear target. We both have climbing ropes. We could throw those up in the woods or at one of our houses. So the closer we get to the races, the more we tend to practice obstacles. And throughout the entire year, we run.
Yeah, I don't want to do the obstacles, like specific obstacles, too far in advance, because then you just start overthinking them.
Get in your own head. Exactly.
Get in your own head. So it's like running and just doing weight training and gym work now here. So if Mac and I aren't out running, then it was like, yep, I'll be out in the garage on the rack doing some kind of lifting. It was like John and I have different schedules.
I typically do.
Yeah, Mac does.
I typically do weights Mondays, Tuesdays, run with Damer either Tuesdays or Fridays, and then Saturdays or Sundays. And then he's got lacrosse on Wednesday nights, and I've got martial arts on Thursday. So whatever we can coordinate.
Cool. Interesting sport to have, Damer.
Yep. Kind of been playing it forever. And so now I'm older, but I'm still going. I'm part of Team Ireland and just like all sorts of stuff. So
that's a badass. That's a pretty scary. So I've only played it once in high school, and it's a pretty brutal sport. That is.
Yeah, I mean, as we all start to age a little bit, it's not as aggressive as it is if you were going to watch it nowadays, but it's still a lot of fun. You still get all beaten up, so it's worth it.
Yes. Speaking about lacrosse and being beaten up, Damer, tell us about your shoulder, and we can segue into the injuries that we've had how do we deal with those? Because that affects training as well. Yeah.
I don't know if you can see, that's my latest. So I separated my shoulder. So the bone sticks up.
I can see that. Yeah, it's sticking up there. Good one.
Yes. Yep.
That's gross.
Well, that's has definitely slowed down my my lifting and my weight work. So right now I'm doing way more running than anything else while I'm letting this heal. This happened right at the end of January, so it's still an issue. So we'll see.
So what happened? What'd you do?
That would be lacrosse. So that was just falling into a pile, and basically the shoulder took the brunt of hitting the ground. And as soon as it hit the ground, it separated, and so.
Oh, so what? It just went like up like that?
It actually went down. So that's my like shoulder bone, and then I have a shoulder, and then you have a bone that connects down into your shoulder, and that's just pulled. It's pulled down in a way, so it's like they're supposed to be like this, and now it's like that.
Yeah,
and they can't fix it, or it's not worth fixing. So it's just I got to get used to it, and I got to just re-strengthen everything there. So I am a little concerned once race season starts, for particularly like an 8-foot wall could be a big issue.
Yeah, shit, man. So
We'll see.
how long ago did that happen? Few months ago, or?
Yeah, right at
January?
the very end of January. Yep.
So is it feeling better now, or?
It is. There's a little bit of rotator movement that hurts, but I'm back to playing lacrosse. I actually had a game this morning, so I'm still doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. Oh, that's
So
good.
I haven't learned any lessons yet.
Not one. No. So I'm shaking my head.
That's about how you live your life, you know.
Yeah.
That's it.
So you guys do running twice a week, lifting about twice a week, and then you have your martial arts, Damien, you have lacrosse.
Yes.
Yep.
With your weight training, are you primarily just doing like push pull legs?
Yeah.
For me, it's mostly push pull upper body.
Yeah.
So my legs I kind of save for the run days on the mountains.
Well, yeah. So you guys would be running pretty hilly terrain anyway. So you're getting like all that glutes,
Definitely.
all the quads.
Yeah. Everything right in our area here is definitely mountainous, and most of the races tend to be at ski mountains. So you're running up ski mountains and then down, and then you turn around and you run back up ski mountain, and repeat and repeat and repeat. So the elevation is definitely a challenge in itself.
Yep.
With your runs, so how many miles do you do on your running days?
The big ones, the low end is 9 miles.
Yeah.
9 miles.
So that's 15K, and the average as we push would be like a half marathon, which would be 13 miles.
13,
and then we have
13 miles is.
We got to go to Google.
I'll go to 20K. Yeah, sweet. That's a beast.
That is a beast. Yep. So the longer runs would be a minimum of one of the bigger flavors of Spartan races. Yep. The biggest we would run for Spartan are the Ultra, which is 50K, 31 miles. And we just completed one of those in October. That was fantastic, by the way. It was just good all-around experience. And we were feeling pretty fabulous during and after. So
that would have been absolutely. Was that your first time doing it or second?
That was our fourth ultra. Yep.
What was the you guys have a video on the reason why you did the ultras to get the belt.
Oh, the belt buckle. So the first one, we're in person and I'm swearing that was in 2017. So, and that was it. It wasn't, we're going to challenge ourselves and we're so tough and it's going to be transformative and it's going to be so, spiritual. Baloney. I wanted the belt buckle. I wanted
the medal. The medal is a gigantic belt buckle. How could you not want that?
Yeah. Compared to my face, it's that big. All right. So it looks like you got in the ring and you won the prize fight in 8 rounds with Tyson. You know what I'm saying? It's that impressive looking. And it turned out to be just an incredible experience anyway.
Yeah, awesome. So you're basically doing a beast race once a week.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the other day is 10 miles. Did you say?
The other day is usually at night, so that contracts the miles. That most is 6 miles. That would be a 10K.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's on terrain that we're super familiar with. So even though we're wearing headlamps and running at night, that's more of like a speed run than it is a long distance just for mileage. So we got a little bit of speed work on one day, and then just long miles and get the muscles accustomed to going further and longer and just being out there for more hours than what you might typically be used to. So we think it's been a pretty good balance.
Yeah. It's also an excuse, in the middle of the week to get together. You do something athletic and it's very healthy. And then you finish it and you sit down and you drink beer.
Nice.
Plain and simple. Yeah. So
you got to have that reward, Mac. You got to have that reward.
absolutely. You got to replenish those calories. You know what I mean? And it's good for the heart, circulation.
When you're doing the long runs, are you primarily like at easy pace?
Yeah, I mean, we don't. If you look at the Garmin data, if we're really moving along, and this is not sustained, and this is we're a sub 9-minute mile is our fastest. But in the dark, it's way slower than that typically.
Yeah. And it also varies on the terrain, just like you pointed out at the Spartan Race. Boy, it's so much easier to run faster downhill. So it was like, okay, we slow down on the ups, gain some speed, make up some terrain, make up some time on the downhills. And that's exactly the way we attack any OCR as well. It's like,
sure,
use your energy to your advantage.
Most of our running too is done. I just recently incorporated more road running. Okay. And it really struck me the fact that my viewpoint is out. Like I can keep my head up and look out. When we're running on the trails here, you're looking down really only as far out as a body length. If you laid down from your toes to the top of your head, that's as far as you can go because it's very technical.
All technical.
A lot of roots and rocks and everything. And the two of us with the broken ankles and all of the, back stuff, when you trip and fall over those rocks, it looks hilarious. You look like an idiot. You go flying, right? But it really takes the energy out of your body. It takes the fight out of you really, really quickly. And when we're out really, really far in the middle of nowhere, you really don't want to get hurt because then it's going to be a problem getting back to your cars and things. So, yeah.
Yeah, wow. So we got lifting twice a week, cross martial arts, running twice a week, long distance primarily, or 20K. So you're doing 30Ks a week.
Yeah.
Anything else that you guys are doing?
That's about it. I mean, then it goes into family time and work and kids and
That's right. Driving to work and from work.
Yeah. Sounds like a sustainable schedule though. Like it's better to be sustainably doing the same thing every week rather than doing one big week, one small week.
Sure.
And just going up and down all the time.
Yep.
Why do you guys do it at night? Is there a specific reason for that, or is it time?
Absolutely. It used to be, okay, how can we rationalize this? And, for me, get out of the house, with the wife and the two small kids. It was when everybody was in bed. Okay, everybody's asleep. Then it was okay. Then it's time for the boys to hang out and do our thing. And look at us, we're doing something healthy. We're exercising. We're not going out to the bars and the pubs and things. So it's
You're
sort
exercising before you go out.
Yeah, well, we bring the pub with us.
That's right.
So it was at night, pretty much to work into the schedules. Once work was done, once the families were kind of in bed, we could link up and then do our thing.
Yeah, nice. That's good. I mean, time management, man. That's
man.
That's good.
Exactly.
What do you guys do for recovery optimization? Do you stretch before and after? Stretch at nights? What's your secret for recovery and sustaining this this athletic lifestyle that you guys live?
I stretch all the time. Damer, I don't think I've seen you stretch ever once in your life. Just like you've never seen me drive a car.
There's definitely afterwards, that's a no-go. It's like, I just want to relax the body and the mind and have a beer and just.
That's what I do. I do 12 and 16 ounce curls afterwards. I work out my bicep muscles. But I have to stretch before we go out, especially on the long runs. I take about 20 to 30 minutes to stretch. And when we, at class, when I'm teaching on Thursdays, a big component of it is stretching. And I just repeat that sort of sequence whenever we go out for the big ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Very good. Very good. What about nutrition? Do you guys focus wholeheartedly on that, or do you guys keep it simple?
I can't keep a straight face for this part. Okay. So we are either the most healthy, unhealthy people, or we are the other way around. We're the least healthiest, unhealthy people. I don't know. I'll put it to you this way. When we do well, we're on pace. We have got a good feeling and we won, okay, a race or an event or whatever. We reward ourselves with the traditional meal of McDonald's. Okay. So we're talking double quarter pounder with cheese, it's stuff that takes years off your life by eating it. Okay.
Well earned.
Well earned. All right. So you burn 2,000 calories, you put 4,700 calories back in. It all works. And when we fail, because we failed in ultra, at a shame on us, we forced ourselves to eat Burger King. All right. So
right. So McDonald's is the king of burgers, but Burger King
that's shame. That's the shame meal. Right.
Yeah. We don't have Burger King in Oz, so
you're not missing anything.
No,
you're not missing anything, my friend.
Better off.
You're better off.
Better off.
So the nutritional aspect is not so much a factor.
From a day-to-day basis, obviously it was like controlling and keeping an eye on what we're eating, but it was like I tend to do more of the exercise just overshadows that. It was like maybe a little bit of calorie counting, but I don't care what I'm eating as long as it's not too excess.
Yeah, right. You guys seem like pretty down to earth, so I would imagine that it's just like meats, vegetables,
exactly.
It's pretty standard fare.
Keeping things simple.
Grilled chicken all the time, and like fish. It was it's like nice piece of steak, perfect, fine. Yeah, I'm not gonna. And it was like I'm not gonna worry about portion sizes and try to micromanage that stuff. That would take too much time out of our already busy schedules. I know if I'm out running and lifting and sweating, I'm burning calories, then it all just kind of works out.
I try to switch now to light beer. Okay, it used to be Guinness, only Guinness.
Only Guinness.
So now it's what we call diet beer. So it's mostly water.
The reason for switching because you want to be healthier, or is it something else?
It's per, what is it, 14.9 ounces of Guinness. It's a pint. Guinness is like 150 calories versus the diet beers, which is like 95 or something. Wow. Pseudoscience. It's not really.
So you want to keep drinking. That's the idea.
And not to excess. It's just the two of us are kind of hanging out, and we strategize like what's coming up in the next race, the next video, and catching up with all kinds of stuff. How's the family? How are the kids? How did your gear perform? How are your feet feeling? How's your messed up shoulder? How's your back? That comes afterwards, and afterwards is accompanied by beers.
Yeah. So. I like that because it's a very holistic approach to it. I think something that I find a real issue with athletes that I talk to, or just people who are in the fitness industry, there's just so much stress on calorie counting, making sure one person only eats steak, the other person only eats chicken, there's another person that's like, oh, I don't drink. There's a person that's like, oh, I only have whiskey or vodka because of low calories. And I think when you put so much emphasis on the numbers and the specifics of things, you lose the beauty of life, sometimes I didn't drink before my race, I had 4 or 5 weeks before the race I stopped drinking completely. Right. But it was after the holiday season, so I mean
that's hard.
You needed it anyways. You needed a break.
Yeah. I went hard on the holiday season, that's for sure.
Right on.
But you got to keep things simple to make it sustainable and for it to be enjoyable as well. Nothing's better than kicking back, having a beer, and with your friend as well.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
The whole process has to be enjoyable, not just the race or not just finishing in the top 10 percentile or whatever your goal was, the whole thing. So it's like the eating and the stretching and the working out on my own and the doing miles and us running in the rain or snow. It's like, it's still, you make it enjoyable. You fit it into that space of I'm still having a good time. It makes the next run or the next lift or the next race just worth it and enjoyable. So I was like, right. I'm looking forward to when Mac and I are out there again, and the next time I'm out playing lacrosse or the next race, which is starting to show up on the horizon for us, and already looking forward to it.
And I mean, that's our mantra, our motto. You know, it's not just clever marketing. You know, train hard, have fun. Means a couple of things. You train hard, the thing that you're training for, that you'll have fun there. Okay. We train hard, but that in itself is fun. Cool. Mm-hmm. And then we train hard, and then afterwards we have fun. We socialize and hang out. So it kind of encompasses all of those aspects. So that's
I like that.
Train hard, have fun. Cool.
You got to do that. And that's what's kind of cool about Spartan Race, that they give you that beer at the end of it. I've never seen a race and I've never seen a race have that, and that was just so cool. I really liked that. It was just finish the race, 5Ks in, and I'm done, I'm sweating, I'm like exhausted, and then a guy hands me a beer. I'm like, oh, bless the gods. Like, I was happy.
Cool.
Yeah, my girlfriend was jealous though, because she didn't get one. So
when are you doing your next one?
Next one's 27th of May, Gold Coast.
Gold Coast. I was looking at the map earlier. I was doing some recon. So cool. I see nice. Cool. One in May and one in September.
That's right.
But
yeah,
south.
September.
That's
so.
South
Are there other brands besides Spartan down there? Does Tough Mudder show up? Do they have local?
Yeah, Tough Mudder is a thing. Obstacle course racing isn't too big in Oz compared to Europe and the US, but Australia wants to gain more and more races, because that's something that came up when I went to the Spartan Race previously. They had a meeting at the end of the race. They asked all of the elite team to come up and say hello, and we had this like little meeting in a room. And they were talking about how to expand Spartan Race, and I think they wanted to expand Ninja as well throughout Australia, because it's obviously a smaller niche down here.
Right.
But at the moment I'm just doing the Spartan Race, and sticking to that. And
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It's a good ball. Another cool thing of why I was really attracted to Spartan Race was because of the spear throw. There's no other race that does that. It's cool.
True.
It's cool.
Yeah,
it's true.
And it makes you feel like a real real life Spartan in a way.
Absolutely.
It's one of their signature. It's a signature obstacle for them too. So it doesn't matter which race you do, whatever length or whatever venue, wherever you are. That obstacle is at every obstacle.
Gotta have the spear throw.
You're going to have the spear throw no matter what. So that's definitely Spartan definition. So it's cool.
That's one of the other things.
And it's not always easy.
No, and that's what drew us to one of the other things that drew us to Spartan. You're going to get the spear throw, but the spear throw is something that you can practice. You can train to the event. There's standardization, that's going to be there. If you screwed it up and you missed on your very first one, you might be more apt to come back and try it again. And before you do so, you can practice. So I've always liked that about Spartan Race.
I saw the I think it was the 2020 or 2021 Spartan Championships, the trifecta one in Sparta. There was this guy coming in second. He was first. He was first for the most part of the race. And then the spear throw came. You know how many times he missed? Like
several.
Four or five
Oh, really?
times.
Ouch.
All of them?
Yeah.
Ouch.
And I can't remember if he continued. Yeah, he definitely continued running. But man, he was not happy. He did not look happy because he was coming in pretty, first, second, third, and then he just missed, did 30 burpees, missed again, did another 30, and then he was up with like a big group of people just doing burpees. And I think on his third or fourth one, he just cracked it. He didn't, it wasn't, he didn't like crack it, but like you could see that it was tearing him apart.
Burger King for that guy.
Burger King for that guy. Yeah. Hey, what's your opinion on there's a few. I had this podcast with a marathon runner a few weeks ago, and he highly suggests heart rate monitors. What's your opinion on that? To keep track of overtraining and undertraining.
Highly recommended.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I have some weird issues with my heart. Nothing super serious, but weirdest, whatever. I like to have the data to see what's going on there.
Yeah.
Okay. Your heart rate, if you're feeling great, but you might be a little bit on the tired side, you're sucking wind, and you look and you see that your heart rate is excessively high, and then you go and you check your pulse, you know that it's time to kind of scale it back a little bit. You can have alerts on some of the devices. A beep will come up. Right. Also helps you track your calories burned. And if you've got a combination of your heart rate monitor and a GPS, you can also see how far you have gone and at what pace. So highly, highly recommended. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I like that data specifically for, okay, we just really moved fast and had a great run. You can then look at how was my heart and how was the elevation and how did all. So the data is fun to look at. So it was like just wearing a wrist. So it's like I just do the heart rate on the wrist. I'm not wearing a full chest rig. But I think the data is awesome. I think it's super helpful.
I used to do it
work as well as the bands. Like
now they do.
The band is a lot better.
Well, you figure the band is right at where your heart is. So you would assume that that's going to be the most accurate. The earlier on, the ones that had the lasers that read through your skin, not the greatest. But the newer evolution of those have brought those to my doctor, and they're like, yeah, no, we've hooked you up onto medical machines. It's pretty close. So, I wouldn't substitute one of those wristwatches for true medical data from your doctor. But when you're out there in the field, they've gotten pretty decent. So
what brands or like what sort of watches would you recommend viewers to go out and get?
We're definitely Garmin guys. For a couple of reasons. Number one, Damer is a super generous guy, and he is a gadget guy, and he always gets the gadgets. When he gets a new gadget, I get the old gadget. So I've never bought a Garmin watch yet. I've had about 5 of them, and they all come from him. So thank you, buddy. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, we don't have a brand deal. I don't know why. Come on, Garmin. But
hook us up.
Yeah.
So Damer, if you show us, can you show us the one that you're wearing now?
Yeah, so that's
I'll be wearing that next year.
so this is the Enduro. But
the Enduro.
Yes. And they all pretty much have the similar guts for tracking, and it's reading my pulse, and it's doing what it needs to. Tracks elevation, great. Does everything perfectly. Haven't had a problem with it. And then some of the other brands, this one's probably the priciest thing I've ever worn, definitely on my wrist. But then like the Garmin Instinct line, the Instinct 2, the Instinct Solar recharges a little while it's on your wrist. But all of those devices have great. Yep, that's an Instinct right there that Mac's holding up.
Yeah.
It's like amazing battery life. You're recording data for an entire 50K Ultra and with battery to spare. So it's like those devices are just doing an amazing job.
That's on a 50K on an Ultra, you definitely want to watch too, not only for your heart rate information, but for the logistics. They're time constraints. You only have a certain amount of hours to complete the whole thing. And by hour X, 2 p.m. or whatever it might be, you need to have left the transition area, the halfway point. Otherwise, you're disqualified. And at 5 p.m. or 4 p.m., whatever it is, if you're not at a certain obstacle, you're also ejected from the course. So it helps you keep time on task. And okay, I've got 5 miles to go. How fast do we have to go to get there to not be disqualified? So it's really important, at least for us, to have that sort of data on hand, so we keep things moving and we hit our targets. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. How do you go about tracking it? So in terms of how does one know if say I bought a heart rate monitor. I'm thinking about getting one. This is why I wanted to ask you. So how do I know, how do I track whether or not I'm overtraining or not in terms of heart and cardiovascular stuff?
Normally, if we overtrain, it ends in injury. So that's how we would know we overdid it. Is like, okay, I am, I need Advil or Tylenol, and I'm out of it for the next couple of, for me, the heart rate part is based on, age, being 29 and all. And, there's a certain maximum that I really don't want to push past because it's dangerous.
Yeah.
So you can alert yourself with either just, looking down and paying attention, or beeps, or these other kind of things.
Yes.
And
So when you set up, that's right. So when you set up your Garmin device, and probably any other brand as well, they just kind of give you your age, height, weight. They're trying to they know that basic matrix
zones
of where your heart rate is supposed to be, where your aerobic levels are, and then if you go beyond or you go too far. So there's been times, Max Watch does not do it. Mine actually tells you if it was a productive run, if it was just baseline, or if I actually went too hard, and it kind of says, okay, you need 36 hours of recovery. So the watch is actually kind of feeding that data to me, basing it on all the other runs and all the other training that I've done while recording and wearing the watch. So that just goes back to recording your data and taking a look.
Wow. So it does pretty much everything you want it to do.
It's kind of, yeah. I mean, it's just analyzing that last run that I just did, and it kind of gave me hey, you were productive. That was good. I actually made some gains on that run, but I didn't overdo it, so I'm fine. And then I can bring that into Garmin Connect, which is their website that lists all of your runs. So we have all of our runs in there. We have all of our races in there. We could manually put workouts. I don't. It was or if I'm indoors on the treadmill or elliptical or some other workout, I don't track those. But just running along, knowing where my heart rate is, knowing how healthy I am, watch telling me if I'm productive or being dumb. It's tends to be a pretty good avenue to just follow.
I see a real advantage into using the heart rate monitors, because it's really hard to gauge whether or not it was a good run or not. You know what I mean? You can feel like it was a good run, but actually it could have been a terrible run. You kind of don't know until you have actual data. This is the difference between, I guess, the amateur and the professional, right?
Yep. Yeah, and even just a GPS watch will do a lot of that for you, just telling you what was your pace and how, and kind of gives you an overall feel. But the heart definitely just gives you just a little bit more data as to how were you feeling, how was your body feeling. It was okay, I know I ran that flat 5K with a 19-minute per mile. I was okay, I felt great. And then you look at the heart rate, and your heart rate was absolutely jacked the whole time. And it was well, that's not good. Wasn't I eating right? Was there something that caused that? Because I've ran that pace before and felt fine. So there's a lot of little things there's just so much data that you can look at and try to build your strategy. Or should I work out harder? Should I back off a little? So we try to follow that data pretty good, because it usually tells us an injury's coming.
Yeah.
Usually
right.
it's too late for me, but
Yeah. Damer's a stoic too. We ran an ultra and we were both feeling sluggish and it was cold and we're like, this is stupid. Why are we doing this? This is the first time we had Burger King, by the way. And I come to find out he's feeling bad because the tendon in his rear end, your hamstring detached.
Yep.
So he didn't tell anybody. He was, dude, are you okay? Yeah, no, I'm all right. It hurts a little bit. Okay, so it's a good thing we have a watch to tell us that this guy is falling apart because he's not going to tell you.
Yep.
Did you even feel that, Damer, or did you?
Oh yeah, It hurt all the time. So
It hurt.
I had to get surgery. I had to get surgery. So that was that one was putting me back together again.
What?
Yeah, I didn't want to continue because I was cold. I don't want to go back out. This race is cold.
At that point,
this guy's falling apart.
At that point, it wasn't fully detached, so at least it still worked, but it did hurt.
So it just got worse and worse throughout.
It kept getting worse, and it was getting worse and worse, and I could tell. And it was like let's get through all of this training. Let's try to get through that race. It was hurting the entire time, and then it was like as soon as the race was over, I'm like, I'm going to take a break and not do anything, and it still hurt. So finally, I went to the doctor, and they were like, "You're a dumbass.
You're an idiot, dude." Yeah.
This bloody 28-year-old crazy.
That's
and
right.
now you learn it. You got it, man.
It's these young people, man. You can't. They're just crazy.
You can't tell them anything.
Right. You can't. Yeah, that's right.
Well, I suppose you kind of need that sort of ability to push past your limits to even do an ultra, though. Because I guess half of that would be your mind, wouldn't it? You could train for it, but I would imagine it being somewhat of a mind game as well.
Very much so.
I mean,
very much so. Yeah.
Even
you just keep pushing yourself.
Even some of the Spartan beasts or supers, depending on the venue, it's like you really need to kind of look inward at yourself to say, how much more can I give? Where is that next stage? With the ultra, there's no question. Like you go to a spot and you feel like you're dying and you seem to take another step and another step. And there's kind of a switch where we actually felt great towards the end and we got faster towards the end of the race. But obviously there was some mental ups and downs in between. And I mean, Killington, Vermont is a notoriously big ski mountain here in the Northeast coast, United States. And Spartan really beats you up on that elevation change. So that one is just an amazingly tough day.
Just gotta keep pushing yourself.
Beasts.
Yeah, just
gotta
have
keep
the right mindset. Yeah, totally.
How do you guys prepare in terms of mindset? Do you do any meditation, visualization? Is it just more or less like a natural thing that comes to you guys?
You know what? It's when we're together, it's more about like jokes and busting each other's balls and
it's being assholes to each other, to ourselves.
So it's like, well, I'm not going to stop because you're not going to stop, and I hate you, and it just it's a cycle. But yes, the longer the race, the more we dislike each other until the year. So then we forget.
Yes.
That's good. That's the what's that? Elliot Hulse says something. Iron sharpens iron. He says when you're hanging out with the men of the tribe, that's how you get stronger. So
right on.
Going out every weekend to go put in a half marathon, 14 miles by yourself would be tough. So having a community, having a buddy, having anyone out there who can do it with you makes all the difference in the world.
So
and
much better.
Even for the training, if I know he's training and I want to take the night off, I'm like, well, I'm not. I'm gonna go I'm gonna go work out too.
Yeah,
that's right.
So that's always there, whether we're pushing each other or not. We're pushing each other. So it's
pushes me. I say, the detached shoulder, no leg guy, he's going out there. I'm definitely going out there.
Yeah, that's us, man. That's a human thing, like we're meant to be in a tribe, meant to be challenging obstacles together, and for the greater dream of the tribe, as it were.
Yeah, and Spartan calls it's like the trifecta tribe. If you've done the sprint, the super, and the beast, there are 3 distances, not the ultra. You're part of the trifecta tribe. So they use that same terminology, and it absolutely fits. So you're so right.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I will say this about Spartan is that I found when everyone is so nice. Like when I was on the race, because I was part of the elite group, and there was all these other guys running different races to us, and it was really, there was just so much support. Like everyone was having a good time, and I was running with one of the elites, and he came up to me and he's like, "Man, I just took like 2Ks the complete wrong way. I'm back now. Like, I'm so like," and he was just like, "Oh, fucking hate it when that happens." And then we just started talking while we were running, and I don't know, man. It was such a cool little, nice little community. And one of the volunteers was like this little, at the Atlas Stone, it was this like 10-year-old little girl, and she comes up to me. She's like, "Do you know what you're doing?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think I know what I'm doing, little one." She's like, "Okay, I'll tell you how to do it. So what you got to do is you got to go up to the stone, and you got to pick it up, and then you got to walk, and then you got to put it down, and then you got to pick it up again, and then you got to walk." And I'm like, "Thank you so much, little one. I'm so glad you told me that."
That's
It was
cool.
just cute, man. It was cute. Like she was such a like a when you get those you get some kids that are just so confident in themselves that they're just like, "Yeah, this is how you do it. I'm going to show you."
Excellent.
That's awesome.
That's cute. Yeah.
Yeah. It made me really happy. Like the whole experience was just amazing, man. Like people
you
were so
mentioned
good.
it. You said the word community. It might sound like marketing or insincere or corny or whatever, but it's the truth. It's a community. You do these things, and eventually you're going to see the same faces. People become familiar. You actually can like create relationships, buddies, friends, whatever. But it's really this sense of camaraderie and community, and it's like everybody's like welcome. It does sound very corny or very insincere, but it's the truth, and I really like that.
And it's definitely more Spartan at the moment than the other brands. They've definitely kind of locked in on that. So whether it's the obstacles or the challenge or just the way they have the whole thing set up, that community and the closeness is more of a Spartan thing than the other brands. So I'm hoping that now that Spartan owns Tough Mudder, some of that flows even more. But I remember that first Tough Mudder in 2012, just the amount of athletes that were there in all body shapes. Some were going to go out and absolutely crush it. Other ones were just there to just see if they could do it. There were just thousands of people at that race.
Thousands of people, yeah.
And Mac and I just looked at each other. We're like, "Oh my God, this is just awesome." And it was like at that point was pretty much when we said we should try to film these, or how could we be a part of this and see what we can do and just have fun with it and take it to the next level. That's kind of like that first race was just like a light switch for us, saying there's such a cool vibe and a lot of stories to tell and a lot of obstacles to complete, and we want to be a part of all that. And if we can document it and maybe even help some people on the way, that's the name of the game. So that was kind of where OCR Kings was born.
I love that. And it's so cool. What's really cool about obstacle racing is that it does feel like anyone can just sort of jump in and do it. Maybe train for a few months beforehand, but you don't have to be, like if you want to be an MMA fighter, you got to be training for years, But with obstacle course racing, it's like, you could be this, dude that's like, I just want to do something, competitive, but I don't want to be putting in, killer hours just trying to attain, one event. I just want to be continuing doing events. And I think obstacle course racing really is good with that, because I've got many different hobbies that I do. I don't really focus on one thing only.
Right.
And it doesn't suit me, But what's cool about obstacle course racing is that you can still probably go to work, run, lift weights, do martial arts, do lacrosse. Like you can do all these different types of sports, and it all flows into.
It all helps.
Racing. It all helps.
Absolutely.
And realistically, if you're like, I just want to get off the couch and go do something, walk it. Try some obstacles. It really
just get out there.
It doesn't matter. We know once you do one, you're going to absolutely love it, and it'll probably wind up changing your life for the better and keep you off the couch quite a bit. But it was like it's not going to stop you. So if a person is there saying, hey, I don't know, it seems for guys who are strong, who are running all the time and lifting, should I do it or can I do it? Like the answer is yes. You could do it. You may not be as fast. You may fail a few more obstacles than maybe you thought you would have. But guess what? Then now you know for the next time and the next time after that. So it's a perfect platform to a healthy lifestyle.
Then you watch some of our videos. It will help you, beat those obstacles.
That's right.
Some, pointers and hacks and that kind of stuff. So
shout out to OCR Kings. Like you guys got. How many videos do you have? Like, hundreds.
I think we're up to 250.
250.
So,
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you guys got a lot of good content, really good content on terms of
Appreciate it.
You guys make a couple of obstacles as well. I saw those videos, and really good stuff. So anyone listening to this, check out these guys' channel because you will learn so much. And the GoPro videos are easily your best ones. Like they're just fun to watch.
Right,
like
cool.
they're
Awesome.
really enjoyable.
Thank you so much.
That's right.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Those are fun to make too. They're all fun to make.
They are fun to make. And if anyone's thinking about doing a race after hearing this, do one. It was like, you'll love it. You'll love it.
Yeah.
There's no question.
You get a real good feel for how the race is going to be when you're, watching the GoPros. Like it really showed me like what to expect. And when I had my first race in February, it was just kind of cool. I almost had like your music in the background, like
right on.
Cool.
Yeah, it's just funny.
Very cool.
Yeah. You guys had a recent video on the Spartan Race shoe. Could we touch up on that?
Sure.
Sure.
What's your opinion on so for anyone who doesn't know, the Spartan brand have a shoe brand, and it's for trail running. A lot of people love it. I haven't seen anyone not like it yet. Would you suggest when people are looking for a trail shoe to sort of just go straight for this one, or is something more simpler better? Or
the Spartan shoe is not a bad choice. They've built in an area midsole that will help you grip a rope when you're trying to climb it. There are teeth, if you will. They're like grippy teeth that help you secure the rope in between your feet. So the drainage in those is pretty good
amazing.
as well. Yeah,
they're ridiculously lightweight. I mean, it's a very good shoe. My only complaint against it is as you do more miles, there is less under your foot cushioning wise. So that's the only problem.
Agree.
So I'm not particularly happy wearing that if I know I'm going for an ultra or just going out to do some hard technical long trail miles. I'm looking for something for a little bit more cushion. Do I think that's the current shoe we're using now from Innovate.
Okay. Yeah.
So that one
the Zoom. There we go.
Yeah. So that particular shoe is just known and pushed to have a little bit more cushion, and it's designed for like an ultra running long range shoe. So it still has the aggressive lugs, just like the Spartan shoes do. So they're very good. The Spartans are great. Spartan shoe is better for drainage. So particularly like muddy trail or just, it's a wet venue. It was like the Spartan shoe would actually be better than this one. Mm-hmm. But so I don't mind wearing the Spartan shoe and I would recommend it. I just would I'd probably personally switch after the super. So be the sprint, the shortest one, the super, And then I'd probably switch to a more conditioned, more cushioned shoe to do a beast or an ultra.
For beast or beyond. Yep. Agreed.
And that's just out of personal, but we've answered so many questions about footwear and shoes, and it's
hard.
The amount of money,
It's hard.
the amount of money that we've spent trying different shoes. It's it's hard to say.
Your feet are so specific to you. It's a very personal thing. Okay. If there was one perfect pair of shoes out there, there'd be just one perfect pair of shoes. So unfortunately, you got to really experiment sometimes to kind of find what is going to work best for your feet. For Spartan races, Spartan shoe is not a bad choice.
Spartan shoe is a great
shorter distances.
shoe. Yep.
Yeah. But these, for instance, have a little bit more padding underfoot. You've got these big old 8 millimeter lugs. They're kind of huge. So these are not for running on the road. I would not run on hardpack or the hardball with these things. But for the mud, these are pretty good.
Yeah. So for long distances, you want a little bit more padding.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just like if you were doing a road run, you would want a shoe with some cushion underfoot. But that depends. It was like you pick up a pair of Spartan shoes. They may be like they're going to be great on every obstacle. It was like there's no question. Yeah. So it's like just for that reason, they're great. Just for drainage, if you are under a dunk wall and they're soaked, they're going to drain quick. So for that reason, they're perfect. It's like if you're going to go out and do some long range trail miles to get ready for that Spartan race, you may want a second pair, something with a little more cushion so you don't beat up your toes and your feet before the race. So it's and I have a race day shoe and a everyday trail shoe. It's the same shoe, but I don't use, like, I've got my race shoes just put aside for race day. It's like I don't.
And why is that important to have two separate shoes, one for training and one for race day?
I mean, shoes tend to have a life where the cushion starts to flatten out. They're not as springy, or even they start to fall apart. The stitching may come undone. There's a couple of reasons. To me, it feels like at some point the shoe starts to go dead. It just feels like a dead piece of wood. It doesn't have that springy feel to it anymore. When you do, it was like, and I don't want to use a shoe brand new out of the box either.
Kill your feet.
You don't know what you don't know what it's going to do to your feet either. So it's a shoe that I'll take out just every once in a while and then put it aside, and that's my race day. And then you can pick up my everyday trail runner, and it was like those 8 millimeter lugs are pretty mellow at this point. Yeah, they've been ground down quite a bit.
He just likes collecting shoes. The man has 1,000 pairs of shoes.
I do love shoes.
Giant boxes of
that's a problem.
Yeah. And again, he's super, generous. If we had the same size feet, I would look to inherit some shoes. But
that's right.
Unfortunately, that is not the case. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So you definitely recommend the Spartan shoe, just not for the ultras or the base. You want something a bit more cushion. Mac, what brand shoe was that you showed the audience?
So this was Innovators, the brand.
Innovators. Okay.
Yep.
So it should say like Innovate.
It's INOV-8, the number 8.com is their website.
Awesome.
And these are the X Talon Ultra 260s. Yep. I believe they're out of the UK.
Yeah, awesome. So, all right, here's a question. What's your opinion on barefoot running and barefoot shoes?
We're going to lose a lot of fans here. Okay. I had my Vibram or Vibram, whatever you prefer to call them, 5 fingers, I thought was cool. They were great for martial arts. They were great for the beach. They were great for free running and parkour and doing tricks and all this other kind of stuff. Cool. For running long distance, rubbish. I don't see it. There's no cushioning. I'm not a fan of zero drop. Okay, zero drop. These have an 8 millimeter drop. That means your heel is raised 8 millimeters. Okay. So to take that away, that would force the tendons in my calves to stretch out that extra 8 millimeters. That doesn't sound like a great deal of length, but in order to achieve that in a medical capacity, you're talking about like surgery. You're talking about stretching fibers. Not a good idea. Didn't work for me. I had spasms and problems with my calves after using that. So not a fan of zero drop nor barefoot running.
And so you said that you've used the barefoot shoes before, and it was good for walking, small distances, but not good for the running only.
No. Nope.
Did you find any benefit from walking on it? Because some people say that it's pretty good for strengthening the feet.
I didn't.
I would just argue that. I would argue that trail running is absolutely the best thing you could do for your feet, because it's like I go out for a road run, every foot strike is the same. So I'm just doing the same strike again and again and again. But on a trail, there's every variation on every step. So you're using every tiny muscle in order to keep that ankle upright, in order to keep that foot from rolling, in order to keep the foot from rolling in the other direction. So you're constantly, as you step, sometimes there's something underfoot. Oh, I stepped on a rock under some leaves. Now I'm going to adjust so the amount of stability and stabilizing muscles that you're engaging just on a trail run, I think is tremendous. So I think even then you could say the same thing. All right, if I just do a walk on a trail, that's probably good too. If I'm going to do a walk and just walk my dog around the neighborhood, it's like anyone could do that. So is there a benefit for a minimal shoe? Or it's like, I don't see it. And when I've tried a more minimalist shoe, I could just feel every rock like beat the hell out of the bottom of my feet. So I just didn't like that. And the Spartan shoe has enough cushion that you don't feel those. But it was like I would still add more cushion, definitely. But it was like, I think a trail run, it was like everyone just go out and trail run. It was like it'll strengthen all the muscles all the way up through your knees. It was a prevent knee problems and all the way down. So it was like anytime I go running, I hate the road. I feel like I'm going to get run over by someone who's not paying attention. But I just think the benefits of a trail over a road is, especially in OCR world, it was like our whole point is to run trails and get to obstacles and keep running and get dirty and get muddy and keep going. So
yeah, I actually agree with you, Dama. I think I do find that when I'm on the road, that's when, if I'm doing a lot of road work, that's when I find I have knee problems. But every time I'm out in the forest, I don't know. I end up not really feeling any pains, because I tore the cartilage in my knee when I was 17. Took 3 years off training altogether.
Ouch.
Healed it all up. It was just a matter of time, acupuncture, and learning how to walk. Turns out I don't know what the condition is, but I was when I was walking, I was putting all of the weight of my foot onto the inner side, and so that was causing my knees to buckle in. Yep. And turns out if you just walk on the outer edges of your foot, you don't have that problem. So
okay.
Yeah.
And there is some shoes, and there are certain I know more road running shoes actually have that whole pronation idea of how your hips and knees and everything all joins together. And there's even some shoes that can help correct particular issues with runners. I tend to not see that type of strategy with trail running shoes, but that's certainly something that I've seen and definitely exists. So there's definitely a true science behind how your feet and how they roll and how they land. And that goes back to Mac's comment about how just shoes are hard to lock in on, because so many people and feet and everything is so different for everybody.
It's also personal. People get passionate about that stuff too. They get very loyal to a brand or a type of shoe or a drop or minimalist versus, super cloud cushiony kind of thing. I don't know. So hopefully, we didn't offend anybody. You are certainly welcome to use whatever shoe you want. No, I do mean that honestly, but we too have our own designs, and we're passionate.
You got to do what works for you, I think.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Always.
Yeah.
Yep.
just like no shoe is going to fit every single person. You know, you got to train the way that works for you. You got to, you know, diet the way that works for you. You got to reward yourself the way that works for you. It's about
absolutely.
You know, there's no one size fits all. I do find that running in trails will fix. This is what I was going to say before. I found it to fix my alignment, oddly enough, with my back and my knees, and you know, like I concentrate on alignment while I'm running. But I think when you're running up, you're running down. There's all these rocks, there's sticks you got to look out for. Yep. You're sort of. It's a more natural way of running because you're sort of going from here to there to here to there.
That's right.
You know, sometimes you have to, you know, jump over a rock or a log or there'll be an obstacle, you know. And I found that it's a lot when you're running on the road and it's flat and you're just running and running on the exact same way. I think those muscles, I'm not, you know, qualified to say this, but you know, I think your muscles get tired and then you start compensating with other muscles that aren't meant to be in that position. So when you're trail running, it's like you're dashing, you're using all of your muscles to go in and out of the, you know, to run the trail. So
agreed.
Highly recommend trail running over road running, especially if you've got a dog as well, because my dog absolutely loves it.
Did we hear your dog in the background? Yeah. Was that him or her? Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
What kind of dog? He's a Malinois Shepherd.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
Yeah, sure. The short, for those who don't know, it's a short-haired shepherd, basically. He's good. Yeah, he's got a good temperament, that dog. So let's segue into. So part of the reason why I've started Spartan Race is to, you know, become the athlete I sort of always wanted to be. Where does one start if he wants to get, say, sponsorship or be a brand ambassador, you know, something along those lines for Spartan Race? Where does someone begin trying to make a brand for himself if he wants to be an athlete, he or she?
Okay, if you're going the Spartan route, you know, typically the brand ambassadors and influencers for Spartan are, you know, the elite crowd. They're the folks who run early in the morning. They run in the elite waves. They're in great shape. Okay. You have to start with some good times, try to podium. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's not our MO, but that's a strategy for the elite guys and girls.
Yeah. So you got to come top 3. Ideally.
You should really push for that. Yeah.
Yeah. And if this is gonna be a business model for you, definitely. Yeah, on top of that, you're gonna have to do a lot of work outside of Spartan and OCR, just branding yourself and
that's the second part.
Getting your own name out there. Yeah. It's like there's a lot of work to do.
Yes. Yeah. So, you know, the influencer part and the social media part, then you have to create content. You have to create good content. You have to create regular good content. I mean, by that, I mean, you have to have a cadence and stick to it to keep pumping that stuff out. You got to answer a lot of comments, and you got to type a lot of hashtags, and you got to try to find a niche that you can exploit that makes you different than the next person, and really try to fit yourself into that space and dominate it and go from there. It's not that easy. You know, if it was easy, everybody would be doing that.
It's also
so there's two components. There's the athletic part, and then there's the business part. And the business part is the social media content, that whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what do you think people are looking for in a influencer these days? With with there being so many influencers out there, what do you think? I guess like people are looking for in an influencer.
You know, the companies, they want a winner. They want somebody who they can, incorporate into their marketing plans, who they know can draw attention and has a good track record. Good track record on the course, good track record outside, meaning they don't cause trouble. They're not obnoxious. They're not arrested. They're not having Burger King all the time. Keep going back to that. But it's true.
Yeah, they're
okay?
real men. They're real men having McDonald's after.
That's exactly it.
Right.
That's what a real man does.
Okay. It's, advice to those folks, keep your opinions to yourself, keep it upbeat, stay away from politics. Just, it's pretty self-explanatory stuff, but some folks might be tempted to jump in and offer an opinion which is not welcome, and that'll submarine and destroy the whole thing. So brands love a winner. Brands love creators who have, created a following or a subscribership of X number of folks. There's tiers. We're in like a micro tier right now, hopefully going to mid tier where we reach more folks. That's part of the best thing about this whole YouTube thing, which I can get back to in a minute. But, you have to differentiate yourself, not necessarily for the brand. The brand wants more of the same. If, the tall, good-looking person worked for them and they get another tall, good-looking person, well, that makes sense. That worked before. But as viewers, do you want to see the same thing over and over again? No. Do you want to see somebody who takes themselves way too seriously? I don't. So as a creator, you should, again, try to differentiate yourself within a very specific group or niche, and then go from there. That's tried and true, and it's harder than it actually sounds.
So it's about, that you want to be training heavily. You want to win, obviously. You want to be probably authentic.
Always
genuine.
Or otherwise don't bother. Everybody can spot a phony. You get known as somebody who's insincere or is phony or condescending. No one's going to pay any attention to you, and rightfully so. So be true, be honest, be genuine. If you stink or you're slow, or you didn't finish top 10, you failed. Tell everybody that's what we're all in it for.
Like the elite that you saw, he failed 4 times. Put that up there. Be honest.
Yeah,
it's like that's perfect.
Show
them you're human.
Show them that you're human. Okay, that's a little bit different than the person who is the top 10 winner all the time, but we're not all top 10 winners. Most of us are somewhere either in between or in the lower end. So be that person, and forge relationships, answer comments, reach out to folks who have questions, get back to them like immediately. Okay, but then it will evolve into something where you're talking to folks online, and it will manifest itself in actual relationships and meeting some of these people in person, which is just absolutely incredible. Yeah. You take a cyber distant, separated thing, and through interactions in this community that we mentioned, you actually build real relationships with real people who you see in person. It's really special. That is awesome. Yeah. One of the best parts of this whole thing. So that should be an aim more so than, okay, I'm going to compete with Mr. Beast, and you're going to get brand deals all over the place. If your content's good, you're honest, you forge relationships, that stuff will come. But maybe that shouldn't be the intent from the outset. That should be an outcome that you're looking forward to, maybe. But building the relationships and the experiences, that should come first, because it's great. It's fantastic. It's really
the lifestyle that we all really want. I think as anyone who wants to be an athlete is looking for the lifestyle.
Sure.
Regardless, I think the money is not really. You end up putting in a lot of work for money that's good, but it's you probably get the same amounts if you've just worked a 9 to 5, every single day. It's not like you're not like a rock star, but it's the lifestyle that people strive for, so they can train for their work and reach out and influence people and provide people a channel where people can look at and be inspired by, and perhaps be inspired to create the life that they want as well.
Sure.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, in
Yeah.
interacting with people on channels and things, sometimes you find out that, there are better methods than what you're doing. We take those, like, if we offer a way to beat an obstacle or something, and somebody comes back to us and says, you know what, this is better. Cool.
That's right.
Okay. Number one, we don't want to give bad information. We want to try it, and we want to excel. So, it's really kind of cool right there.
Yeah. So in particular, how does it work with sponsorship with Spartan Race in particular? Like, do they sponsor athletes?
They sponsor somebody.
Yeah. Not a lot of people.
We're gonna do one of these.
That's right. Can't talk.
There's a bit of lag on my end. They would sponsor, I believe, typically their elites or their professional racers or whatever.
And to get that, you just need to do what we previously said: social media, good branding, clear message, authenticity. Show your values, integrity, show your losses and your failures, win, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all building the brand. I mean, if you're just looking to do something with Spartan, they want elites. So it's they want elites at their races because it looks good. So it's podium. I mean, that's like the first. Yeah. If that's the quickest avenue because you want to start talking with Spartan or having them pay for your races, or you can just kind of show up, then yes. It was like, unfortunately, you got to put in an insane amount of effort to touch one of those podiums. It's like, if you're looking to evolve it further, Spartan is only a small slice of the OCR community. Then now I need to do this other stuff. Now I need to get my presence online, and I need to be true, and I need to be visible, and I need to be approachable. So it's depending on where you want to go and how much effort are you willing to put into it. So it's, am I going to build my brand by being an elite athlete and start from there and then work my way out? Or am I going to try to make a space for myself and just build my brand? And so there's some couple of directions you can go with your space, but it was like Max said, it was like, just be true and be honest and build content and keep engaging and don't quit. So it's just, it's busy work. It's constant.
What sort of content do you think people are after, particularly, training videos of an athlete training, some basic nutrition videos, GoPro videos of obstacle course racing? What would you suggest for people wanting to start their brands as an athlete and building it up, just like we've said? What sort of content do you think they should be sort of putting out there?
So, whichever content you go with in any, we'll talk about pathways here, but you got to remember that it's about the audience and not you. Okay. People don't necessarily want to see how great you are. They want to learn perhaps how great they can become. So always think about the audience rather than just, this is my video diary. Everybody look at my life and see how great I am. That doesn't really fly. So our approach was to, show folks, what is it like? What's it like to run one of these races? And originally it was just hands. It was a lot of hands. Later on, you saw us because our hands look terrible and my knuckles are all a mess. So that got kind of worn out. But, our biggest stuff is the sort of, hey, imagine yourself, you're the person going across the monkey bars, and you get a preview of what to expect. People love to know what to expect. So use us as a cheat sheet. We'll go across the thing and fall down. He'll break his shoulder and I'll, break my toes and everything. And check it out. So you don't have to go through that. You can come in and do better than we did. So.
And there's probably something that you as the athlete are going through. And in your case, you were talking about some knee issues and how you corrected that. Being honest and turning that into videos and getting into the science behind it. And all of a sudden you can kind of become a micro expert giving out ideas, how I solve this problem. Well, guess what? You're going to help out people because you've gone through it. Yeah. And it sounds like you've taken steps in the right direction because your knees aren't hurting anymore. And you've learned a bunch from the doctors. And now go teach the next people who are just started to run and they have that same pain. And well, guess what? Perfect. Now you have an audience, engage with them and talk to them. So you now have there's your first spot, and you don't even have to worry about, I don't have to podium. I don't have to be a superstar. I don't have to go build obstacles that I don't have any place to build. You already have something that you can launch right now because you experienced something. Talk about it. It was like, and that's a platform and people will listen.
That's a great point. Yeah, everybody wants to know, what is it like? It can be anything. What's it like to drive a Lamborghini? I have no idea. I can't post that video, but I would like to know. I might go check out a video like that. What does it take to podium? Okay, that might not be our thing, but we can tell you how to get across the monkey bars and how to get under the barbed wire and that sort of thing. What's it take to build one of these obstacles? We can show you that too. So that's the specific thing that we carved out for ourselves. Yeah.
Yep.
So any circumstance where you can share with people your experience and show them what it's like, that's important because I guarantee you, whatever it is, somebody's looking for that.
Yeah, it's about giving offering something for the audience. It's not about you, not about how much you're training and how how much you're pushing yourself. It's about what can you offer for the audience and the clients.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always.
And
a lot of athletes get that wrong. I see a lot of athletes just putting up videos of them training, doing push-ups, and I guess I don't mind seeing that, but when that's all they're offering on their channels, I tend to just step away from them.
Sure.
Spartan's done that themselves a couple of times, where I saw one of their little advertisements where they're in the gym and they're just cranking out a monstrous amount of weight and it just looking like absolute studs. And they are, but it was like, that's not the people who are paying for elites and the events and the whole bottom line of Spartan as a whole. It's like, it's the people who are just want to see what a race is about, or they want to get a little bit healthier, a little bit faster. It's like, it needs to be, it was like, so your audience is enormous. Like that's your goal. That's your focus. So when Spartan puts out a commercial like that, to me, their audience is just superstar athletes, ultra athletes. And I was like, well, you know what? That's going to scare people away.
Yeah.
So my advice to Spartan when they put out a commercial like that is like, be careful, or at least have another commercial where it's just the more average people out having fun, getting muddy and pushing themselves. And they're going to be sore afterwards. They should be, but they had a great experience.
Sure. Yeah, that's why we should be making those commercials.
I think when I went to my race, honestly, I thought maybe 70 to 80% of the people there were just average Joes. Like,
yes,
I saw a lot of old people too.
That's exactly right.
It. Yeah.
Yeah. It was cool. I mean, I loved that. Like that was, seeing people from all shapes and sizes. I saw mums, I saw kids, I saw people that were like in their 80s, like, it was just cool. Yeah. It was cool as. So that's primarily their audience. So
yes,
it was only 15 athletes at the 15 people doing the elite run.
That's right.
At my race.
We've noticed the elite numbers have dwindled a little bit. So
and if anyone who's trying to carve out a niche and see if they can do something in this space, that's their audience too. It's not the 15 elites. They know what shoes they're wearing. They're hyper aware of calories and what they've been eating, and it was like, so I don't want to know what they're eating, because it's not real. It doesn't sound
sound filling or delicious.
Too much work. Yes,
too many sprouts. I don't want that.
If I can't order it by number, then I'm not interested.
Yeah.
So supersize it.
That's right.
So could we segue into the Sparta championships? Have you guys gone to it?
No, I mean, that's a lot of traveling. I think I'd rather do a race in Australia before I go to Sparta.
Oh yeah.
Was that the one?
Cool.
Mac, was that the one that Spartan was invited us to? Was it that one, or was it?
No, that was
Abu
in Dubai.
Dhabi?
That was in Dubai.
Yes.
Yep. That was the Worlds, wasn't it?
Yes.
Last year, I think.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct. I mean, that would be an adventure, definitely.
And I love
logistics there.
Yeah. And the same,
intense.
I love the idea of returning Spartan to its roots and having an event there. It's just logistically. So like, I got to take the time off and away from your family and the cost. And
I'd be yelling all the time too.
Yeah.
I'd be calling home. Where are you? I'm in Sparta. It's totally obnoxious. I'd get thrown out of the country. But I couldn't help myself. I know I would be doing that. Damon, right? Yeah.
The Greeks would be staying far away from you. They'd be like,
bloody, get out of
bloody
my
Americans.
country.
Dumb
Right,
American.
the Americans have struck. Get him out of here.
Yeah.
So we love the concept. The concept is cool. Like Spartan in Sparta, that's awesome. It was like, but just financially and every other reason, we can't get there yet. It was like, would we if the opportunity? I was like, of course. But there's a few others on our bucket list that we would love to do too. Would love to go travel outside the US. We've looked a couple of times trying to get into the UK and it just didn't work out. But even some like going to Hawaii, would be just such a different climate. It would just be an amazing event. But yeah, logistically flying across the country and then across the ocean to a tiny little island to do a race.
It's hard with a family.
Not practical. It's not practical. Yep.
Definitely hard for a family. Yeah. And they'd want to go and I'd be like, I can't afford that. What are you kidding?
Yeah.
You kids get a job. Like go off.
No kidding.
You're 5 years old. Go out and get a job.
Exactly.
So I'll ask this: how do you know how to qualify for Sparta? Because I found, like, I was looking through looking through their website, and it's not clear on who can get in and who cannot.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know the exact details, but I would guess you would have to qualify by time if you're going to do like an elite. If it's a competitive world event, you probably have to compete in X amount of events. And
you definitely have to get 3 trifectas before you can go. Well, that's at 100%. I'm not sure on sort of times and
and for trifecta, I think just to get people there, I'm pretty sure you just have to complete 3 trifectas and have a hole burning in your pocket to spend enough money to get over there.
Right.
It seems it's like they just can't. They're not in a position to turn people away. It was like it's such an exotic and difficult to get to venue.
Oh, cool. So anyone can sort of jump in. They do the 3 trifectas throughout the year, and they can.
And they love
qualify.
it. Yeah, it was like that's last I read on Spartan's website. That's
what it is. Okay.
All you had to do to be a part of the Trifecta Worlds was complete a trifecta in that one season.
Just 1 or 3 trifectas in the same season?
No, just 1 trifecta. Yep.
Really? Huh.
Wait, do you mean just the sprint?
One. Yes.
Yeah, all 3.
Yeah, basically that invite is going out to you if you've done a trifecta, because they know a vast majority of people can't logistically get to that trifecta world championship. Okay. So we're going to invite everybody, knowing we're going to get the elites, and then we're going to hope we can get as we can get some big waves, and that would be great. But yeah, I don't know what the runner count is there, but just trying to get there, that's not easy. So
yeah,
I assume
cool.
they're struggling.
Yeah. Okay, that's good for me because that's my intention.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, 100%.
There's a video. That's a video, right? No joke.
I should bring a GoPro there. Send it to you guys.
Absolutely.
Well,
we'll give you some stickers and T-shirts. You got to wear those when you're out there. Sponsored in part by OCR.
We'll do. No. Well, yeah, I go to Poland. We'll be going to Poland at the end of the year anyways, so we'll be going towards Greece. Yeah, because my girlfriend, she's from Poland, so we try to see her family.
Cool.
No, especially after COVID, it's like we had 3 years of strictly not allowed to leave the country. So now we're trying to take advantage of that.
What's the flight time from you to Poland? Long?
Well, we get the cheapest one, so we it's about 20 hours.
Oof, okay, yeah, that's.
It depends on the flight. Yeah, flight travel, because we'll stop over in Bangkok, then go to Germany, then Austria, then Poland, and then it's like an 8-hour train ride from Warsaw to her hometown.
You should film that. And I'm not joking. That's and you know, the train travel alone, that would, just being honest, that would be something that I would watch. I've never done that before. I've never made that trek or travel. That would interest me.
That's right.
That would be actually cool, because then you go from Australia to Poland and then to Greece. They do that whole thing and then do the race, and I'll keep that in mind.
Cool. Right. Let me ask you this too, because the invite came in for the calendar here, and I saw the date. What day and time is it by you exactly?
So it's not 9 a.m. now.
On 27 March? Is it
27.
Monday?
Yep.
Okay, so we're 26 March Sunday. So this is like time travel that we're engaging in right now.
In the future. In the
days
and it's good when you think of it like that, eh?
It's amazing. It is amazing. But again, this is another cool part of the YouTube thing, the community. Now we have kind of established a relationship with you. We wouldn't have this without the YouTube thing. We're really fortunate. So
awesome.
Now we have to see you at a race. So now we have to shake hands.
Yeah,
that'll be a tough one.
I definitely want to go to the US. Depending on how my year goes, I really hope to go to the US next year, or at least the year after. I want to travel the whole world, but yeah, I really want to go to the US, and because you guys got heaps of races in the US, like heaps.
Oh yeah,
we really do. I looked at the map. It's really kind of unfair. They're mostly here. So yeah.
How many races do you do a year on average?
It depends, like 10 each is not a bad.
10's a good number. There's some years where we've done more, and then there's been some injury years we've done less, but 10 seems to be a good number. And then we try to sprinkle that around with venues we want to do, or a non-Spartan brand we want to check out, or just give the whole community some love. So it's like, all right, we're going to go to Tough Mudder, we're going to run Rugged Maniac, or one of these other brands that exists that still puts on a good show.
Good show. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're segueing into the top of the second hour, so I think we'll start wrapping things up.
Sure.
Where can people find you? And what do you have to offer viewers, and words of wisdom to give to anyone who's thinking about doing a Spartan race, Tough Mudder, and etc.
Cool. Well, I mean, first and foremost, virtually you can find us just by searching at OCR Kings. We'll come up wherever. Wikipedia, YouTube, Instagram, all of those. We're primarily in YouTube. So you search for either Spartan Race or OCR Kings, we'll come right up. Okay. Physically, you can find us out in the woods. We run in the Northeast all the time. Northeast of the United States of America, we're out in the woods. We're basically lumberjacks without the flannel shirts and the axes. So if you're out there in the woods, we would love to, shake hands and see you. For people getting into Spartan Race, think about what your goals are. Are they to go out and compete and be super fast and elite, or is it to go out and experience, have an adventure, and to be, have a good time with friends? Both are valid, and we might address both on our channel. There are certainly other sources to investigate if this is like your first sort of venture into obstacle course racing. Just whatever you do, and it's self-promotion here, but as our mantra, train hard and have fun. Really, work, give it your best in your training.
Right.
Give it your best at the event.
If you fail an obstacle, that's right. If you fail an obstacle, we tried to make a video because we probably failed it at some point too, and we got annoyed and we built it, and then we kept practicing on it, and now we tend to not fail on it anymore. But so we're hoping the videos were kind of that purpose. It was a spot where you could go to get your answers. What do I expect at my first race? What does this obstacle look like? What does this location look like? What's the terrain look like? What gear may I wear? Or do you suggest, should I wear a pack? Should I wear gloves when I go through obstacles? So we try to address as many of those questions as possible. And we're always looking for more questions, and we're looking for more obstacles. And so we like to build, we like to deconstruct, we like to answer questions. So
hit us up.
Our space is kind of the people who are just looking for, what do I do at my first race? And we're the guys who try to answer those questions.
Absolutely.
Nice. Well said. Well, yeah, I mean, any last words?
No, we're just really thankful that you reached out and we connected. It's been super, super cool. So now we have friends across the world on the other side. That's amazing. That's really, really cool. So we are, honestly, we do hope to see you somewhere at an event or somewhere. That would be amazing. So good luck to you and your races and things. Cool.
Very good.
Cool.
All right, guys. Don't want to. Oh, yeah, cool. I can just pause the recording there. Beautiful. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys all on the next episode. Done.